Scott Frost was going on, he's now in Nebraska, former UCF coach, about the national champions. I guess Nick Saban had something to say earlier in the week about, pesky UCF claiming national champion. And I know that Scott Frost, I guess the two ways that people are going to look at this is Scott Frost is either, and UCF are either being annoying or they've got something, there. And here's where I'm going with they got something there. It's because, undefeated record, much softer schedule, I know. Doesn't compare to the SEC West, I know. But the only thing is the head-to-head competition. Now, like I said, I go back to 1984. I remember when BYU won a national champion, and theoretically the toughest team they beat was a 6-5 Michigan team by one touchdown in the Holiday Bowl. I remember that. They played in the WAC, and what's the WAC? And all that Western Athletic Conference. It was actually a little stronger than it is today. They played football in it back then. It was really known for high scoring and such. But yeah, there was a feeling also of, it was one of the other conferences. It was pretty much, I think, about the seventh best. But they were the only undefeated team in 1984. I never could figure out, though, why the Holiday Bowl, to me, when they only got Michigan, that was the Holiday Bowl's real chance to be the Fiesta Bowl. The Fiesta Bowl, without conference affiliation, they really made it and got on the map when they were able to secure Miami and Penn State to play each other for a national title back in 1986-87. And that elevated that bowl. It was already being played on New Year's Day, and that was big. But there were a lot of bowls that wanted that matchup. The Gator Bowl wanted it. The Citrus Bowl wanted it. And the fact that the Fiesta Bowl was able to actually take Miami out of Florida and into Arizona, that really elevated the Fiesta Bowl's prestige. It had been growing, but that was the final, that was the final salvo, is that the word I'm trying to use? Or the final, step of the ladder. Let's use that cliche. Or phrase, as the case may be. I never could quite understand why the Holiday Bowl didn't say, we've got a chance for the national championship game. Try to get a sponsor there. It was right when sponsorship was coming into bowl games, and try to get a better team than Michigan, and then maybe the Holiday Bowl would be thought of if you had a chance to play for the national championship there on a higher plane than it is today. But, Holiday Bowl was always exciting because it had the WAC team. They always were high-scoring, and so you knew it was going to be a high-scoring, usually close game back in those days. Anyway, I'm getting the idea that Central Florida, but the argument, undefeated record, but they have the head-to-head victory. The only argument I can make against that is that Auburn was not up for UCF. It's a meaningless bowl game, and so for that perspective, that's again why I'm saying, okay, fine, here, just let's get those 5 teams up in the level that they should be. Or excuse me, those 5 conferences up in the level they should be, okay? The NCAA is not regulating them. Let's have them up there. You're concerned about scheduling? Yes, the ETSUs of the world, and I hate to do it because it's cutting the throat of the Tri-Cities, I know it, but I'm just sick of this. And I'm just absolutely sick of this, and I think the best way is just, okay, let's have honesty in where the big conferences are. And if an ETSU wants to invest the money in facilities, in athletics, in the future, and then make and try for a membership in a larger conference, in a Big 5 conference, or if a Tulane does, or a Temple, or a UCF, okay. Maybe it's time then for the Big 12 to take in a UCF. But it's time to just, let's stop this. I know Coastal Carolina won the College World Series, and it was great. And I know that Loyola went to the Final Four, and it was great. And I'm not debating that. But what I do want is just an end to this mess. And I'm not sure that it's worth the mess to continue on with this level that we're at right now. I mean, well, you can't pay the players because the smaller D1s won't be able to pay them. Okay, that's all we need to know, that maybe it's time for those Big Five conferences to break off. That's all anyway. So, say what you will about that, but that's my take on that. The ACC also had several rules changes that they were talking about, not just a 72 field team in the NCAA tournament, and I'll get to those later on in the program. But for now, it's getting to be race time. Race time in Baltimore. That's how the old Baltimore Colts got their name, right? It's the Preakness Stakes. But there's a lot on the horizon. Justified is looking pretty good for a Triple Crown. And looking like a pretty good guess to me is Teresa Gennaro of BrooklynBackstretch.com. She's going to tell us who's going to win when we come back. This interview will be carried on 1420 NBC Sports Radio Tri-Cities Facebook. If you haven't liked that, like it now and watch it there.
When you're looking for